And we are back again for the latest episode of the Patriots Only Please podcast. As usual, I am one of your humble, fearless co-hosts, Mr. Jeff C., joined today by...
Mr. Soli.
Of course, the always affable and very stylish Mr. Soli. Yeah, very stylish. I'm digging the glasses. That's a good look. It's a very good look.
I've got my thumbs up t-shirt. See the thumbs up logo? Everything's opposite, you know what I mean? It's trippy.
Yeah. It's okay. You know what? It's good because form-fitting works on you. You know,
Thank you.
The more form-fitting, the better.
Well, Patriots, black is slimming. Okay, the color black. When it comes to fashion clothing, black is slimming. I only have black clothes. Nothing. I have no color.
Yeah, just dark clothes. Cool, man. Well, hey, we are back. It's look, it's always an adventure. It's always an interesting week when we're talking about the world of politics, especially now that President-elect Trump is out there doing his thing, acting more presidential than arguably our current sitting president, who is nowhere to be seen. I mean, just today, Trump is visiting France. He was, greeted by, Macron and, watching the reopening of the new Notre Dame or Notre Dame, or if you want to say it, French speak.
Yes.
And yeah, just all around acting and coming across way more presidential than our current president, who's actually making moves internationally. He seems to be, being welcomed with open arms. Not just that, plus, there's the drama going on with all of the cabinet appointees. So, I mean, yeah, as usual, I mean, I'm going to let you have at it and just kind of fire off your take on this week.
Thank you. You got it. Also, to add to your comment, and this is very, very critical, in my opinion, Trump also met with Zelensky and Macron. All three, the three of them met together. And that's very, very important. Very, very important because, we need to end this war in Ukraine. It's been going over 3 years. And if the Democrats had won, it would continue going probably indefinitely. But no one wants that. The American people have voted and said they don't want that. Despite that fact, Joe Biden keeps did you see what he authorized last week for Ukraine?
More money, more munitions.
$752 billion more.
Yeah.
And he and Blinken have promised to send as much they're quote push through as much money as we can before the next administration takes over.
Well, you got to get that money laundering scheme going until the very end, right?
But again, what a slap on the face to the American people who have obviously said enough is enough.
Yeah.
They're not listening. They continue to not listen. They're doubling down on their nonsense. And hence this episode about Joe Biden being probably the worst president in the history of our country, second only to probably Jimmy Carter. Mm-hmm. So for example, if we can start with the pardon. I'm on Twitter right now, and one of the trending topics is Biden's pardon of Hunter sparks controversy. Well, why wouldn't it? And of course, after saying unequivocally that he would not pardon his son, his press secretary, the White House secretary, Karine, I forget her name, Karine
Jean-Pierre, yeah.
She had to eat humble pie. I wouldn't want her job. I don't know what she's making. It's not worth it. She's got to keep lying out loud completely about everything for the next month and a half. Mm-hmm. And the weight of that on one's soul, I can't imagine what that's like, because she's trying to defend the indefensible. Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't really mean no when he said no unequivocally. Yeah. The English language works a certain way. Words have meanings. Words are important. So what is action and actions speak louder than words. The pardon that Joe Biden offered his son, the unconditional pardon going back to, very important, January of 2014. Do we know why that date is important, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, because
Hunter Biden took a position at a company called Burisma in Ukraine in April of 2014. Mm-hmm. Hence when all the shenanigans began, including Joe Biden being involved in those shenanigans, which have resulted in the Biden family becoming super rich. Mm-hmm. So this is the biggest pardon in U.S. history, second only to the pardon that Gerald Ford had to offer President Nixon when he resigned before he got impeached for what happened with his administration. You can Google that stuff. It's all online. It's all available. It's fascinating to watch and read. But it really shows you the kind of person that Biden is. And then, of course, the reason that he gave was, to sum it up very, very succinctly, if Hunter's last name wasn't Biden, none of this would have been happening. To which our response is, I'm going to read Mr. Buck Sexton's response on Twitter.
Yep.
That the official White House position on Hunter's pardon is nobody else would have been prosecuted for. Are you sitting? Are you sitting? Are you sitting? Tax evasion, millions of dollars. A FARA violation. FARA stands for Foreign Agents Registration Act, which is a law that requires individuals and entities to register with the Department of Justice, DOJ, if they act on behalf of a foreign entity in the United States. Hunter didn't do that. Crack cocaine. The next one is tricky to say on the socials. I'm going to say trafficking in Homo sapiens.
Okay.
Which is on the laptop from hell. Hours and hours of it. Illegal possession of a firearm. That is a federal offense. He lied on federal documents about using drugs and I've talked to attorney friends of mine, and I've Googled this stuff too. There's lawyers talking about this all over the world. That alone is 10 years in prison for anybody. Mm-hmm. Lying on a federal application about obtaining a firearm is a immediate go to jail. You're in big trouble. You messed up. All of it completely exonerated. It's shameful. It's deceitful. But it shows you who's been leading the country for the last 4 years. It shows you how low the Democratic Party will go to stay in power. They'll do and say anything, folks. They'll do and say anything. And it was all of this, and then after Biden and Harris have lost, and the American people have spoken, he's doubling down on his commitment to Ukraine. He'll probably pay off a lot more student loans with our tax money before he gets out of there. I don't know. They'll open the floodgates more at the border. I mean, it's embarrassing at this point. I feel like it's almost he's making a mockery not only of our country, but of democracy itself.
Oh, of course. And he's already talking about preemptive pardons, and I mean,
of course,
a preemptive pardon. I mean, so does that suggest that there was criminality to pardon in the first place? Because he's talking about Fauci, he's talking about Liz Cheney. I mean, all of these people who know. I think it's never been more obvious, at least to the American people or those of us who are paying attention, that this just confirms that this has been just a massive criminal administration, a massive criminal enterprise since the beginning. Joe Biden has been corrupt, not just for these 4 years that he's been in office, but his entire political career. And this just kind of seals that. And I think everybody that's paying attention, folks like us, and even people who aren't necessarily in it as much as we are, they're noticing. And that's the good thing. That's really where it counts, where people who are not necessarily as politically literate as we like to think we are. If regular folks are noticing, then I mean that speaks volumes right there. I mean, look,
regular folks are feeling it. They're feeling it in their pocketbooks. I can't even believe I'm going to say these words, Jeff. But when the folks in North Carolina and the neighboring states that got destroyed by Helene, the hurricane, found out, FEMA has no more money because they've been sending all of it to Ukraine. That's talk about a smack in the face, a dereliction of duty. I could go on and on. This Joe Biden is the worst president ever. He doesn't care a hoot about democracy, about citizens. It's such a shameful, awful, and I'm sorry, but Obama's vice president for 8 years.
Sure.
Okay,
yep.
Guys, Obama was not the saint that you think he was. Because if Joe Biden was in the room, that evil was in the room, right?
Yep.
I mean, birds of a feather, guys, birds of a feather. Okay.
Yeah.
Obama was a much better statesman, a much better speaker, a fantastically powerful speaker. But behind those words, nada. Corruption.
Yeah, and you want to talk about like the downfall of the Democratic Party? I mean, at least right now, I mean, there was none more anointed than Saint Obama, and his star has fallen dramatically in the last
precipitously, and it should have, because he shilled for Kamala on the campaign trail like his life depended on it, because it did, and he lost. And he's lost his favor, he's lost his dignity, And it's time, if the Democrats want to win ever again, they need to get rid of all these old Democrats. Get Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, the Obamas, all of them out. They
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
longer understand they no longer understand or respect the American people at all.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
completely out of touch.
Yep, they're in dire need of a rebranding, as the right was years ago, and I think that's happened now because of Trump and the MAGA movement.
Right.
I mean, I think that there's been a lot more that we've, and I've said this for years, that the Republicans and the right are in dire need of a rebranding. We have a marketing problem. I think a lot of that now is starting to turn the other way. And, I think that the left has to do the same. But look, there's plenty of, the uniparty exists for a reason. There's a reason why it's called the uniparty. There's plenty of rhinos. There's plenty of deep state actors that are still, in control, clinging to power. And this is where, where I get a little concerned, because you and I were talking about this a little bit before the show, was, you're always way more optimistic than I am. I'm cautiously optimistic, but you're always way more optimistic than I am about a lot of this stuff, because I know, for a fact that the left, and even what's worse, the rhinos are going to just put every roadblock in front of every one of Trump's or most every one of Trump's appointees. And so and to me, like, really, there are people out there. There's been essentially a mandate from the American public, and it's even more damning that you have Republican members of Congress, Republican senators, who are, oh, well, I'm not going to approve Pete Hegseth, or I'm not going to approve, Tulsi Gabbard. Really? Like three human beings can hold up the will of 75 million people or more? Like, that's, to me, that's profound. It's ridiculous.
Couple of things about that before we get back to Joe Biden. Those folks those rhinos that might try to hold up the process have to try to get reelected one day. Yes. And if they do that anytime soon, with Trump being this popular, good luck. Good luck getting reelected. Good luck losing your job over nonsense. I think what you have to keep in mind is the enormity of this victory, and the fact that Trump came back after missing 4 years and won again. It's only happened one other time in our country's history. This guy has done things that no one else has done. He's created an entire new political party. He's rebranded the Republicans. It's really is the Trump train 2024, 2025. Yep. You're on it or you're not. If you want to not be on it, but call yourself a Republican, good luck hanging on. Good luck, because the people of your states, the constituents of whom these rhinos have to serve, are going to vote him out. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. So at some point, they're going to look at their balance sheet and their portfolio and their income and go, I better just stop talking this nonsense and hop on board, or get a really good job, because it's the wrong time in history to be against Donald Trump if you say you're in the same party.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So just remember the power that what we control now. More Republican governors than Democratic governors. The entire federal government. We dominate the Supreme Court. If you want to go against that on principle, you better make sure your principles are sound, because nothing that Trump is doing or saying is out of line with Trumpism, with the MAGA movement, with America First.
Yeah,
that's hop on board.
Yeah, and I hesitate. Honestly, I hesitate to call it a Republican victory. I call it a populist victory. You know what I mean? Because he's actually, and I hesitate to call it the Republican Party at this point, because it's more of, to me, MAGA seems like more of a cohesive party, because of the unification they just brought in with the RFKs and the Tulsi Gabbards and even Elon Musk and all of that. There's much more of a coalition of just everyone coming together to beat the deep state and to beat the uniparty and to go after this entrenched just corruption that's been just rampant in the system for decades, at least my entire lifetime.
I couldn't agree more. But Joe Biden has shown us that after over half a century of being in government, 36 years as a senator, 8 years as the vice president, 4 as a president, you can still be completely incompetent and get ahead. If you toe the line, do what they tell you to do, and don't quit. Everyone's known Joe Biden was an idiot forever. He's been the joke in D.C. forever. Rambling Joe Biden. He's always been a moron, not a visionary, not a leader, but he was the right person for the job at the time, because COVID happened The mail-in voting happened because of COVID, and he's a party guy. They knew whatever happened, whatever they threw at him, he would do what they tell him to do. He's the perfect puppet. And they were, the Democrats were positioning themselves to make Kamala the next perfect puppet. You know, John Fetterman won an election in Pennsylvania as a senator. He couldn't even speak after he won the election. He disappeared for 3 months and went to rehab. But he kept his seat. He was voting from the clinic. These Democrats. So I know that we're anchoring this episode with Joe Biden, and we should, because everything what this landslide did, what this red wave election did, is it proved how hollow the administration really was, and how corrupt it was completely. The lawfare. We found out when we put a microscope on the people. Fannie Willis. How is Fannie Willis lied on the stand, and she's the attorney general? How does she still have a job? How is she not in prison? How is she not up for charges? I mean, come on, right? So we're realizing how deep the deep state is, how big the web goes. But again, justice is coming. Trump has done this before, you know? Yeah. He's going in ready to rock, ready for the pushback, ready to take on the fake news, to dismiss them, essentially, and move forward and keep communicating directly with the American people. That's how he won, and that's how he'll be victorious when he's in office. But for Joe Biden to spend the remaining period of his presidency continuing to tell the American people, middle finger, you know what I mean? If you're a Democrat, how the hell do you look in the mirror and think this is how? I mean, this is the leader of their party. This is the president.
Well, I mean,
what a shameful way to go out.
Sure. He's the president in name only, right? I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, look, one of the things that I think is really important, and hopefully this gets addressed, you know, on day one, and I'm sure it's definitely on top of the agenda, is cleaning up the elections, because, you know, we talk about those rhinos that are going to do everything they can to stop, you know, Trump's appointments. I mean, yeah, they could be primaried out. That's still 2 years away. And of course, as we know, there's a lot of corruption in the elections themselves. So, and that's where kind of my worry comes into play. Like, you still have 2 years. So and if they think, oh, well, I can just cheat and get away with it anyway, you know what I'm saying? So who needs, with Republicans like that, who needs Democrats? You know what I mean? So we have to keep the pressure on them.
Of course. I mean, Trump's not going to let up for a second, but I mean, this election had to be too big to rig, and it was. The primaries will be too big to rig. I mean, I think people realize Trump's lame duck now. He's got 4 years and 4 years only. He's going to make, I'm not concerned at all about that stuff. I think it's a different era. I think how things change so quickly in the world of politics. I mean, Kamala Harris was omnipresent for 3 months. She's gone. She's just out of history. She's gone. I told you, they published their schedules, the president and the vice president. Kamala has made 1 or 2 appearances since she made that speech where she's what's it called?
After the concession speech. Yeah, she made drunk as a skunk.
She's made one or two public appearances since then. She's not. I don't think she's working. I don't think she's. I mean, so who's running the country? But if you look at her schedule online, it says meetings every day, just meetings. Not going to events, not doing anything vice presidential, meetings. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And Joe Biden's in Africa, and he's not in Paris, or he's not in France right now. Jill Biden is. It's like, this is I mean, again, I'm baffled at how anyone that works, any Democrat can defend this behavior. Can still with a straight face say, yeah, this is normal. This is normal.
And a lot of them, a lot of them aren't anymore. You know what I mean? Because there've been 3 public, pundits on the left. Stephen A. Smith, who did, a pretty epic takedown. Cenk Uygur's done some pretty epic takedowns. These are all people on the left that normally would toe the party line, for these people. And even there, I mean, some of their biggest donors, George Clooney, apparently is, from what I've seen, is not happy at all. I mean, as rightfully so. There are millions and millions of dollars in donations, up to over $1 billion totaling for her campaign, and she's 20 million in debt. I mean, a lot of them are saying, hey, what's going on? Why are you, they want some sort of accountability. So I think that, again, it's becoming obvious on both sides, and good to that I say great, fantastic, good. Let's see accountability. We'll see, what happens come January. But like you said, I think justice is coming. Yeah, I'm pretty hopeful. Look, the fact that Trump got elected in the first place, and the fact that it was such, and a lot of them are going to downplay, say, oh, it's not a landslide, but the fact that it was a popular vote,
Who cares what they
who
say?
cares?
I
But
don't
the
care.
fact that it was a popular vote victory, it was an electoral victory, all of that is true, regardless of how you want to slice the numbers up. That's true. So, if nothing else, I'm very hopeful.
Well, if I to quote that Steve, I'm gonna misquote it, but I'm gonna paraphrase the Stephen A's rant takedown that you talked about. He basically said the Democrats, no one wants to hear what you have to say. You've lost the ability to speak. We're turning a blind eye and a blind ear to you now until Trump takes over and starts to run the government the way he wants to, and then we'll talk again. But until then, no one's listening to you because you had 4 years and 2/3 of a 3-chamber government to run this country, and you ran it into the ground. You lost everything. At the end of the day, this is a performance-based business, right? And they performed so badly that they lost everything. And Joe Biden couldn't meet. Joe Biden's going out riding in the sunset. They'll call him a hero. He'll have his library built. He'll go retire. And Kamala Harris will go back to California and do whatever the hell she's going to do. Who cares? But she'll disappear from the world stage. She never belonged there in the first place. And shame on them. Shame on everyone at that DNC who shilled for them so hard, knowing that Joe Biden was senile and Kamala Harris was completely unfit to serve. They didn't care. Winning is more important than serving the American people on that side. And Joe Biden is the career face of that. And that's what I want this episode to be about mostly, because Kamala Harris was a flash in the pan. Joe Biden's been doing this for his entire adult life. His family's a crime family. His son is dirty as can be, and he got away with all of it with the DNC's blessing. And shame on all of them. And they're going to have hell to pay next year and in the next 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. So what's the, I guess the other thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that not even is the public waking up, but we alluded to this at the beginning, that the world stage is pretty much, look, Biden is irrelevant. They're going to do everything they can to try to push us into another war. They're going to spend and do everything that they're going to do on their way out. And thankfully, at least the world leaders, that we've seen publicly are just kind of, okay, this is crazy. We're just going to hold on. We just got to hold on for another month, and then things will turn around. So, short of, Joe Biden launching a barrage of nuclear missiles at Russia, I'm hoping that these world leaders are just kind of, like I said, hanging on.
Well, he gave Zelensky and Ukraine permission to bomb Russia, to use long-range missiles to bomb Russia on his way out, which everyone agrees was inappropriate and careless and ridiculous. But again, the Democrats have no shame. Their leader, Joe Biden, the worst president in history, they're still shielding for, and it's really going to damage their party forever. The Democrats are in disarray. They deserve to lose. They deserve to keep losing until they come to the center and get rid of all this nonsense that makes them the far left fringe, wokeism, identity politics. All that the American people have spoken. None of it makes sense. It's ridiculous. Trump's going to come in there like thunder and just rain down and make everything right. And I'm very, very excited about it. Shame on Joe Biden. Shame on Obama. Shame on anyone that supported this team, this DNC ticket. Shame on Kamala Harris for being a liar, knowing her boss had dementia and didn't tell anyone because, well, it's not my place to tell the taxpayers who we work for. The person in charge can't tie his own shoes. They don't need to know that. Yes, they do, as a matter of fact, Miss Harris. So, it's a reckoning. It really is a reckoning, and the world realizes that when we talked about this in a long episode long ago, talking about economics. When the United States gets the cold, the whole world gets the flu. Well, our immune system just got a big boost, and Trump's going to come in there and make it even stronger, and that's going to make the world. When a rising ocean thing raises all boats, however that expression goes. I think the Trump effect's going to affect the entire world. I think we're all going to. Human beings on this planet are being a better place because our country is going to be energy independent, peace through strength, close up the border, stop that nonsense, it's going to be better for the entire world. And I think that Trump will be able to solve the problems that the Biden administration created and or had no idea how to solve, like Iran, like Israel and Gaza, like Ukraine. These are huge problems that affect the entire Middle East, Eastern Europe, and the South China Sea. And we need a strong president that knows what he's doing, and that's going to be Trump.
Absolutely. There were no wars under Trump. No new wars
No
started.
new
He
wars.
ended,
No.
Brokered peace in the Middle East for the first time in
Yep.
decades. So
Yep.
look, and again, all of that is happening. I think that the globally, and not just, here in the States, obviously kind of the mood is lifting a little bit, which is nice. You can feel it. It was a great Thanksgiving. Hey, that was wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And I just think the mood is shifting globally. And so we're seeing that even as Trump, acts essentially as our president in France right now. Great. That the world leaders, again, I'm saying the same thing, but the world leaders are just recognizing that there's a new sheriff in town. Things are going to stabilize out, and this is all a good thing. So, I mean, again, future's looking bright. Let's keep fighting for these appointments and the cabinet appointments. I really think that we do need a guy like Kash Patel. He's kind of that's a non-negotiable. I think we do need, Tulsi, and we do need RFK. We need everybody. I love the fact that Elon, I'm really a fan of Elon and Vivek, everything that they're doing with the Department of Government Efficiency. That's not an appointed office. So, hey, so they're already getting started. So the audits are coming. So this is all good stuff. It's all trending in the right direction. And, again, there's plenty of reason for the future to look bright.
No. I don't agree with you. I just want to maybe end the episode by saying that, the downfall of the Democrats, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were the most recent examples of what's been going on for a long time. They just amplified it by moving so far to the left that they left America behind. Mm-hmm. They moved so far to the left, they left average Americans going, so my daughter has to compete against boys in school and I'm not supposed to say anything? No, you're not. If you do, you're a misogynist. It's all the way down from foreign policy to the social order. Democrats screwed it all up, and they lost everything because they needed to. And Trump's going to hit reset, and we're going to get back to normalcy and American pride and America first. Being energy independent, it's all about energy and the economy. Those are the two main things that we know Trump's going to come in full blast and fix. And then of course the border and the foreign wars. But once the energy costs come down, ladies and gentlemen, our lives are going to be a lot more affordable very, very soon. And thank goodness that Trump won. Thank all of you that voted for Trump, even if you're a Democrat. Thank all of you that supported this new movement, because the Democrats were leading us in the wrong direction really fast, to the tune of trillions of dollars. The Democrats were spending $1 trillion every 100 days since 2021.
Yeah, crazy.
And most of that not on Americans, by the way.
Of course, absolutely. And the problem with that is that it was generally a bipartisan vote that made that happen. So throw all the bums out. Honestly, throw them all out. I don't care. You're, like you said, you're either on board or you're not. So no, really well done. So good. I mean, we like to keep these relatively short. We don't like to do these for like an hour long at a time, but we can go on tears occasionally. But in this case, I think, everybody's eyes and ears are on the world stage at the moment. So, I mean, there's nothing that we can just offer our perspectives as observers, but I think everybody else is forming their own opinions as well. And
Jeff,
again,
you know what I can't wait for? I cannot wait for Trump's first State of the Union. Yeah, because he is gonna. I guarantee he'll spend the first 20 minutes just hollowing out the Biden administration, just letting them have it, and then talk about what he plans to do in the future. But it needs to be reckoned with. It needs to listen, like what I'm going to be fixing up, what I'm going to be solving is what the previous idiots left at America's doorstep, and shame on them for doing it. Here it is, and here's how we're going to fix it. I can't wait for that moment, man. That's really, and then the Democrats have to sit there and take it. They won't clap, they won't stand. I don't care. It's going to wash through their earballs whether they want to do or not.
Yeah, and Nancy Pelosi won't be there to rip up the speech and do all the bullshit. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So cool. All right. Well, I think that's it for us. As always, you can check us out at patriotsonlyplease.com. That's where it's basically just a link tree with that fans out to our other social media platforms. And if you are already on those social media platforms, and check us out, like, subscribe, follow at Patriots Only Please on your favorite social media app. And until next time, as you like to say, I'll give you the last word.
Please like, comment, subscribe, and follow us, guys. We'd love to grow. We're trying to grow the podcast, grow our channels. We'd love to connect with other conservatives, other Democrats that have left the party. I'm a Democrat that left the I'm a Republican that left the Democrats. I think, Jeff, you were an independent that became a Republican. Am I guessing that?
I've been registered Republican since like 2012, and then before that, I was pretty much an independent. So yeah.
Okay. So join us. I mean, we thoughts on the show, the podcast community. We want to be a part of all of it. We want to join you guys. We want to grow it together, but we want to make America great again. It's about time. So we're very excited about the future. Thank you for following the show. If you do, we take your suggestions, email us, contact us on the socials. Thank you for your support, and happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays. And as you like to say, I want to give you the last word. You always say,
keep on trumping.
Keep on trumping. All right. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.
Bye.